Good morning from northern Wisconsin in the Northern Highlands, American Legion State Forest. Specifically, I am in Sandy Beach Campground. This is my site last night. I reserved it 2 days ago. There's a couple other empty sites still over here along the water and this beautiful beach. Well, along the water here. The beach officially is down there, but I got my own beach off the back of my site. The water here, while clear, has the tannin in it from the pine needles that give it a little bit of a brown color. It's perfectly fine, but it's like, the Black River State Forest where all the water you can't see more than a foot down in. This is just slightly tinted. Now the campsites along the water here are really, your official site is within the posts on all of these sites. So all the sites are kind of like butt up towards the road, and all of this is just public space that anybody can use. You don't have to have this site to use it. So other people could come down and use my beautiful little beach here. Now, since this is state forest, think of it like a state park where you have to have your sticker on every vehicle. Has to have the state access sticker. So if you don't have a sticker, you can pay for that here. But the sites you pay for all online on wisconsingoingtocamp.com. You can book up to 11 months in advance or day of if they're available. Okay, here's the map of the campsite. We're starting out down here. We're going to go down the back side and then we'll hit the front side with the waterfront sites. We're going to start the tour down here. The numbering is part of the state forest numbering, so we're not starting at 1 or anything like that. We're actually starting at 1,901. The first set of sites are on, so there's a big loop. We're off the starting loop is not on the water side, so we'll do this section, then we'll do all the water sites. So 1901 here, not deep, great tent site, pop up, teardrop, something like that in here. Very flat, very nice site. 1902 over here, about the same depth, not a really deep site, but pretty good site. Just gotta dance around the trees. 1903 over here. A little deeper, not that deep, not too deep, fairly wide. Not a huge site. Pit toilet over here, his and hers. Hers up front, his in the back. And yes, there are quite a few mosquitoes here I am dealing with. And I sprayed this morning, but it doesn't stop them. 1904. Not incredibly large. This is actually a very small site, tent only. You really don't have much room to play in there. Trail that takes you down towards the water. 1905. This one's a little deeper. There's a little more room back in there than some of the others. It's still not a huge RV site or anything like that. 1906 over here. Another compact site. Very shaded opening, secluded opening here. Fairly small. Another trail heading down to the beach. Doesn't look very well used. 1907. Over here. Again, fairly small, narrower site this time. Still good for tents or something small. 1908, big site. This one's got quite a bit of room in it. It goes back quite a bit, so you can do a little more with that one. 1909, wide, not too deep. There's a bit of room in here, but not a lot. Okay, passing another pair of pit toilets. The women's is on this side, the men's is on the other loop side. 1910 here. This one's pretty big. It's not a big RV type, but it's fairly large. You can get pretty deep in here. 1911, big wide site, very grassy. Okay, that was the end of the back side of the loop. There is a trail here that heads you actually to the real beach, the large beach, rather than just the communal space up front here. And let's look at the rest of these here. Okay, 1913 here. This one's nice and big. We're on the end of the loop. The water's over here. 1912 over here. Got a good size here and some amazing trees hanging over you. Over here we have walk-ins. 1915 and I think it was a second, 1916. And they are currently occupied. So I'm not going to get down there, but they are on the water closer than all the other sites along here. $19.17 here. Big site on the water side. Anything will fit in here and the boat. Going across from here, 1918. Another smaller site similar to what's on the back side of the loop, but maybe a little bigger than those. Then we come to the camp host and the firewood, $6 a bundle. Pay on site. That's camp host, which is currently empty. 1920 over here. This one's kind of angled really weirdly and it'd be a great tent site. You can get some smaller rigs in there too, but best for tents or some small pop-up. 1921, you can see what's fitting in there. That's on the water side. It's a great view. 1922, pretty wide, not deep. 1923, you got quite a bit of stuff going on with that travel trailer. The screen house is at the edge of what they can use. 1924. This one's a little larger than some of the others, still not really that deep though. Now we're coming around to 1925. That's my site over here. We already showed you. Plenty of room there. 1926. Not super deep, but pretty good. And a wide site. Doesn't look very used. And like I mentioned, that whole space beyond my campsite is public space. And this is a trail that goes to the back loop. So they can come down and use my little beach down there. 1927 on the inside. This one sneaks back quite a ways, but you got the firing right in the middle of a path going back. So you're not going to get anything too big in there before you get the firing. 1928, again narrow around this tree going back, but you got a ton of room once you get in there. 1929, wide. This is on the non-water side. It's one of the biggest ones I've seen over here. 1930 here, another large on the water side site. 1931, you can see I got a big fifth wheel hiding here. It's not as accessible to the water as some of the other ones are. 1932, on the inside loop, on the end, actually very large site. There's quite a bit of room in there. And our last one over here, 1933, out on the outside. This one's got quite a bit of space, but you'd have to really snug an RV here because of that trees kind of in the way. So that's Sandy Beach Campground in the Northern Highlands American Legion State Forest in northern Wisconsin. Like I said, all of the space along through the trees here is just public access. We're not allowed to set any of our structures outside of our little loop. I am getting eaten alive by mosquitoes here though, so I am not going to linger here today. It's been kind of weird. There have been times I could sit outside just fine, and then the next thing you know, I'm swarmed. It kind of comes and goes, and apparently this mosquito spray we got is useless. So I'm going to get going. Thanks for coming along. Getting this tour is probably a little quicker than usual because I'm a little frantic because of the mosquitoes right now. Your results may vary, but the water is beautiful here. I'll see you on the next one. Check out my playlist of all the state parks and national state forests, and another playlist of all the campgrounds that I've been to in the national forest in Wisconsin as well. See you on the next one. Get on out there.